Are you a good golfer?
No, I'm not a bad golfer. I'm not a good golfer.
Okay,
What's in the middle?
Here we go.
Hey, Danny Matei here with PT Biz, and we are in Argyle, Texas, checking out Pursuit Physical Therapy. Cassie Thompson is the owner. We're gonna go in, learn all about her space. She just built out this beautiful new standalone space. We're gonna talk about the transition to get here and what she's got going on over the next 5 years as well. Hey, Cassie.
Hello, welcome.
What's going on?
Good.
Hey, we're here in Argyle, Texas. We're checking out Pursuit Physical Therapy with Cassie Thompson. This is a really cool looking space. We're so excited to show it off. So Cassie, you haven't been here for very long, right? This is relatively new move in?
Yep, pretty new. We moved in February, actually Valentine's weekend.
Oh, wow.
So it was kind of a quick turnover. We went from one space over the weekend, pulled everything in. And we've been here since. You
were how many years in traditional clinic setting before you decided to go into your own cash practice?
About 10. So I graduated in 2012. Got my PT practice, was there, and kind of worked my way up. I was the clinical director there after a number of years, and so after 10 years, it was kind of like it was time to move on.
You were 10 years out, right? Mm-hmm. So do you feel like the time that you spent in the clinic, as a PT, as a clinic director, all that, was that beneficial for you starting your own clinic, or do you feel like you could have done it, earlier in your career?
It's funny you say that. I think I have a unique perspective in terms of being in kind of our traditional outpatient ortho high volume clinic. I think when I got out of school, I didn't really know that there was anything else that you could do. Sure. So you kind of go into it and you just this is my life now. And so thankfully I feel like I learned a lot. And so that was really, really nice. So that way I felt like once I kind of got through the process of wanting to start my own thing, I didn't have to worry about the clinical side, which thank goodness, because the business side has been the biggest learning curve for me. And so I just really I'm glad that I spent the time.
Well, let's see the space. So you obviously are, you got some rigs, you got some squat racks.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about the kind of population you're working with, and what are you mainly using in the space? What equipment obviously gets the most use? Yeah,
so obviously barbells and dumbbells and kettlebells, we use those on a regular basis.
This is one-on-one, or are you doing any small group stuff?
We are doing small group,
Okay.
So all of therapy visits are one-on-one.
Yeah.
We have started running out our Resilient Runner Club as well as our Swing Strong program. Yeah, and then the one that's really kicked off really well is Swing Strong, and that is our golf strength program.
Oh, okay.
And so there's a simulator group in the area, and so we've partnered with them, and so they get to do all of their power production. They get to look at all their numbers with their swings and everything beforehand, and then we come and do the strength work, and then they get to do it afterward, which is pretty cool.
So how did you develop that relationship?
He was just opening up last year, and so he was kind of posting some stuff on social media, so I just kind of reached out. We go to the same church, so that's helpful too.
Oh,
but
cool.
So I kind of reached out and was like, hey, I'd like to see what you're doing. And once we kind of started talking, we kind of realized, hey, we could do some similar things here. And there's a lot of golf clubs in the area, and I see quite a few of those people as well. And so he was kind of trying to build up his clientele, and so it kind of just worked out. It's a good partnership.
Great.
We do have equipment where we're actually utilizing, and we have a lot more movement to it. So we actually use the Golf Forever program.
I've never heard of that. What is that?
Scotty Scheffler, let me see if I can get it. A lot of the guys on tour will use this program. Are you a good golfer?
I'm not a bad golfer. I'm not a good golfer.
Okay,
What's in the middle?
Here we go. So you can kind of hold on to one of them, and then you can work on different swinging forms. But the cool thing is that you can utilize, there's a lighter one, there's a heavier one. And then so we work on a lot of power, we work on a lot of mobility. So it's kind of a fun tool. A lot of guys that come in, they're like, hey, I've seen so-and-so on the tour use this. Do you have it?
Let's look at the rest of the space. So you have right now, you have one treatment office and a sublease space. We can go up there in a second. But let's go in the treatment office. I like the way you set this up. This is pretty cool.
So this is the set.
Look at that.
This has been, I think, the best part about owning my own place.
Yeah.
And starting it and doing the whole one-on-one thing. I think when I first started with Pursuit, my number one goal, and my husband Jared, he was like, hey, what do you want people to like get out of whenever they're meeting you and talking with you, and when they're talking about it in the community, like what do you want people to say? And I think number one for me, it was like, I want them to know that I love our people. And loving people means like clients, right?
Yep.
And being able to like really hone in on them and kind of know their story and what all they want and their goals and all of it, right? Like the whole encompassing thing. And so I wanted to make a space in here where it felt like they could kind of unload all of that, have that conversation. Because before it was like we were in these spaces where everyone's talking and there just wasn't a lot of like
it's not
good
intimate
communication.
No, it doesn't feel safe.
Yeah.
I agree with you. How often do people cry in here?
A lot. Yeah.
Nice.
And I'm clegit to it. I'm a crier, so.
I had a mentor tell me one time, if they're crying, they're buying.
Yes.
It's like, if you're like, but legitimately, it's also buy-in. You know what I'm saying? Like you're getting them, because obviously you have like Outlive, which is Peter Attia's book, which is awesome. Built to Move, Kelly Starrett's both great like approaches to longevity and just health, right? But you're talking about habitual lifestyle changes that nobody wants.
Yes.
Let's talk, you want to eat more fruits and vegetables and eat less sugar? Like that's a hard freaking sell.
It is.
You know, so but if somebody emotionally is like there, you know, and they understand, like it's so much easier to get compliance. Right. So the mental side of starting a practice is absolutely, I think mentally it's the hardest stage. I think actually the stage you're going through right now is the hardest, like skill-wise, because you're having to learn so much about, you know, a sublease for a space and equipment loans, and then hiring people and like systemizing things and really like growing a business past yourself. So that's like, I think technically very difficult, but like the mindset side of it, like I'm a clinic director, what if nobody comes and works with me, right? Like how embarrassing that would feel. And it's not really you can always go back and get a job, but it's like the fear of just failure.
Yeah. I think that has been the thing that has paralyzed me the most, I think. Right. I don't know if you do much of the Enneagram. I'm a type 1, which is like very perfectionist, very by the book. Everything needs to kind of be like rule follower and all of that. And so I think that has been like
non-entrepreneurial personality type.
Not at all. Not at all. Yeah. And so I think that's just been like, that's been the stressor of like what happens, like how do I look if this doesn't work out, right?
I get that. So right now this is you're subleasing this out to a massage therapy group, right? So and when you built this out, I guess at some point, like depending on how you grow, you could decide, all right, cool, we can keep this, keep it small, sublease it out, but it gives you some options.
Totally. So when we first came into this space, they actually didn't have the office space or the bathroom at all up here, and so what I knew that it's a 5-year lease. So the hope and the prayer is that it grows, right? And we can kind of grow into it. And so we went ahead and had them build out both of these things up here. And so at the time, I don't need the space. And so the hope is that we kind of move into it. But so we found a massage therapist who's here locally in town and was looking for a space. And so it was kind of the perfect fit. I didn't really necessarily want to bring on somebody like onto my staff, but she already had kind of her own thing, and so it's been good.
What does that look like for you if you had to say, okay, 5 years from now, this is what the space looks like, this is what my team looks like, what would that be?
I mean, I think ideally if I could have like 2 to 3 fantastic therapists on board, where I can, treat on, a handful of days.
Yeah. Well, how much is it, like what's ideal for you? Because how many kids do you have?
I've got 2 kids.
So, okay, 2 kids, and they're how old?
8 and 5.
Yeah, so they're just going to get busier, obviously, right? So leading into that stage of your life, like what would be an ideal schedule for you?
So I mean, like during the day, like they're at school. So and I've made it a priority right now to kind of be able to do, I'm going to do a certain amount of days of drop-offs, pickups, all of that. And if I could do like realistically like 3 good days of treatments, whether that's treating or teaching like some of the like the small group training classes, I would love that. And then, I would think if I could have like 2 to 3 good therapists that, are just good people and love their people and all of that. And then potentially have a couple people who want to just do maybe some small group training. I think that would be great. That's kind of my goal. Like I said, I think big pictures. I just want this to be a place where it helps build community.
Yeah.
I think that's really the biggest thing, is like keeping people in with their people.
Yeah.
Whether that's a run group or a cycling class, you know, like something like that where I can kind of help be that adjunct. I don't necessarily have to replace that, because I think that there's already such good groups in this area. That's kind of the biggest thing, is I want them to know that.
Like, you're helping facilitate them be a part of their community, not be their whole community.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
So I think it's great.
Yeah.
Well, Cassie, this is awesome. You should be really proud of this space.
Thanks.
This is it looks really good. You know, I have no doubt you're going to find a couple amazing clinicians. And if you're watching this and you're an amazing clinician and you want to work with Cassie,
sure,
hit her up.
Yeah.
But I hope you all like this one, and we're excited to see what it looks like over the next 5 years. Thanks for letting us check out your space.
For sure. Thanks for coming, guys.
Yeah.